Hey y'all, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in again. Today we're going to go through our inverted row series. This is going to be a little bit more than 4 variations, but normally over the course of the semester we get 4 4-week chunks, and that's normally how I program. Every once in a while we'll throw in some different exercises in the middle of a cycle. Sometimes we'll switch something out. Maybe we'll just run it for 1 or 2 weeks, but for the most part I'm going to go 4 exercises at a time, and that just helps us keep with a progressive overload for our kids, but not make it so variable over time that like they just can't ever they can't ever get the stimulus that they need. It's always changing, so they can't ever really adapt to it. So what we try to do is just meet the kids where they're at. And so for like TRX Inverted Row, this is going to be the first thing that we talk about. One of the best things for it is we can adjust our feet in or out based off what somebody needs. Before we get to that, you probably all realize like relative strength is a big deal, right? Relative strength as compared to your body weight. And sometimes you'll find an athlete that they really struggle, let's say like with a push-up. They'll really struggle with a push-up. So that is a really large stimulus for them when I'm thinking in my mind, oh, push-up's pretty easy. Because, you know, for me, it's not that tough. Or maybe you have another athlete like they weigh 105 pounds and they just knock out push-ups all day long. Well, that's totally different depending on every athlete. So what we try to do is we find exercises that we can progress and regress, especially with load or just setup. Okay, so I'm going to show you some of that. Most people know TRX Inverted Row. We got the knockoff brand off of Amazon. Okay, it's a lot cheaper, still does the same type of work for us. So for us, TRX Inverted Row will be cycle number 1, and we will cycle through different grips each set or even in the middle of a set. So we'll have an overhand grip, we'll go neutral, and we'll go underhand. But all of that, we want to just make sure that the kid is set up properly first. So for us, we know if our feet are all the way in toward the rack, that's going to be a lot harder, and all the way away from the rack, like back here, that's going to be a lot easier. Okay, so we find what that looks like for the kid, and then as they get into this, what we want to talk about is just good posture. So if they were standing straight up, they'd be like Superman or Wonder Woman. They've got that good superhero posture, right? When we pull, it's the same idea. We don't want to pull our chin or our face to the straps. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we're pulling our chest to the straps. So one of the ways that we cue this up is we say, hey, make sure we have our elbows as far away from us as possible and then all the way through our sides. Okay, so my elbows go max range of motion, all the way forward, all the way back. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep my posture locked in the whole time, okay, controlling that movement. Now, there's a ton of different ways that you can like add resistance. So for us, we can put a band on the rack so it resists us around the waist, okay, or put a chain across our chest, or lay a plate on our chest. One of my favorites is actually manual resistance. So if you've got a good training partner, they can put their hand right on the top of your chest here, top of your sternum, and they'll press down and make you you got to fight it, right? So you can get some eccentric loading, and then when you pull yourself back up, they can let off a little bit. If they're a good training partner, they'll make you work hard, but they can also like adjust variable, right, as you're going based off of what you need. Okay, so then you can get some good quality reps as long as you trust that partner. Okay, so TRX Inverted Row, kind of adjusting it forward or backward with our feet or adding resistance. That's a lot of different ways you can do it. Obviously, changing of the grips. Okay, those are all good. We also, most people know this variation because it's probably a standard one in most people's programs, especially if they don't have rings or TRX straps, is we would grab a barbell out and you can go inverted row with overhand grip or underhand, okay? And one of the best things about this variation, and you can do it with the handles too, but it's a really good tell for this because everybody relates it to bench press, right? Like everybody thinks when they get a bar out, they think about bench, right? You can actually touch your chest. In the same way we want to touch our chest in bench press, we want to touch our chest when we're doing inverted row. Okay, so we're gonna pull that bar all the way up or pull ourselves all the way up to the bar, touch our chest, and that means we hit the standard and go all the way back down. When you can give a kid like a standard that they have to do within an exercise and you just kind of give them one thing to think about, it really helps clean up a lot of things. So if we say, okay, make sure you got your superhero posture and then you touch your chest, that's gonna be pretty solid, right? And one of the things that we can do if that is way too easy is now we add like a bench to put our feet up on and go like elevated. Okay, where your feet are elevated, makes it a little bit tougher, a little bit different angle. You can go where it's a little bit more unstable, So now my feet are up on a physio ball, and now I'm pulling. Okay, every time I pull with that, I gotta make sure that I'm not moving around. I can stabilize the exercise enough. And then the last variation that we'll do over the course of our semester is we have neutral grip, where a neutral grip bar for us has 3 different multi-grips, right? So 3 different spots that you can put your hands close, regular, and outside, and then you kind of just figure out what you like, and once again, we'll be able to hit that standard of touching our chest every time that we go. Now, when we have people that are super good at inverted rows, where it's just tougher, like some people wonder about rep ranges, normally I'll just put an actual range. Like I'll put 8 to 12 or 10 to 15, or maybe it's, I want all 3 grips, so like overhand, neutral, and underhand, and I'll say 3 sets of 3 to 5 each. So it's gonna be somewhere between 9 and 15 reps, okay? Then maybe we're gonna load it up and we'll have chains or plates or partners, and we'll go a lot lower of a rep range. It all depends on what your goal is, what you're trying to get out of it, and how you're actually going to apply the stimulus. And how that really looks for a kid that's weaker and somebody that's a lot stronger, how you're gonna bridge the gap. And that's a big part of the coaching portion of things too. So I appreciate you all tuning in. This is gonna be a continued series that we'll keep on trying to rock and roll with and put out 1 or 2 of them per week, and see how we kind of progress and regress each one of the exercise categories that we have and that we program within our semester or daily class, or however you want to think about it. So appreciate you people. Thank you.